I'm Akiko from Global Startup Center, today's MC. And here we have Yoshi, and Mumu is coming later. Before we start the meeting, the event, I'd like to ask one thing. Please keep your microphone mute and turn off the video during the event. So let me explain today's rundown briefly. So I'll explain general information of Global Startup Center and Startup Wizard. Then I'll introduce four panelists, William, Belholma, Carrington, and Ryan. They just arrived at Fukuoka at the end of last month, and they'll give us short introduction of themselves. And if you have any questions, please feel free to write them down in the comment or chat box. We will answer them if time allows. We already posted the link of the startup visa and general information of the course in Fukuoka and questionnaire of this event in the chat box. Please feel free to refer to those information. Let's start with the first program, the introduction of Global Startup Center and Startup Visa. So, Fukuoka City Global Startup Center is run by the city government, and we are the contact window and executive unit for foreign startups and entrepreneurs. Our motto is a part of your team. Once you contact us, we are your first team member in Japan. We work with you, we execute projects together. Even more, we sometimes do tasks on behalf of you. As you can see, our services are very wide range and available at any stage of your business. What I like to emphasize here is our unique business matching. We have strong connection with not only startups, but also big companies. Moreover, we have good relationship with the local government and public organization as well. So we can arrange very specific business matching, not just introducing each other. And this business matching services available for any startups. That means even if you're not in Japan, without having a company here in Japan, moreover, without coming to Japan, we are happy to offer our networks for you to find your potential partners. So let me introduce some of merits starting business from Fukuoka when you expand your business in the Japanese market. The first point is the safety. Unlike the main big cities in Tokyo, like in Japan, like Tokyo and Osaka, Fukuoka is located on the side of Japan Sea, and we have less earthquakes, which means we could say our location is safer than such big cities geographically. That's why big companies have data centers in Fukuoka. The second point is our location. Another geographic advantage is the close distance with neighbor countries. Once you set up the business here, you have the market not only in Japan, it can be extended to Korea, Taiwan, and China. When you fly to Tokyo from Fukuoka, it takes about 2 hours. We can fly to Korea, Shanghai, Taipei as well. Fukuoka can be the gateway to Asian market as well. Next advantage is our startup ecosystem. Fukuoka is gradually known as the most popular startup city in Japan because we have been building our unique startup ecosystem since 2012. We have many supports for startups, and you can find them once you visit our startup hub called Fukuoka Growth Next. It's where GSC is located. Fukuoka City has a project that supports implementation of proof of concept in the city. The last point should be the high quality of life. Compared to the big cities like Osaka, Tokyo, Fukuoka is smaller, but this is the big advantage of us. It's not crowded, less competitive, and the living cost is more affordable and reasonable. It is important for startups to save your living costs so that you can spend more for developing your business. We also have strong communities. Once you get into the community, it's easier to make new networks. Fukuoka City is surrounded by rich nature, mountains, and beaches are very close from the city center. So we believe our city will be perfect place for middle and back offices and remote workers as well. I would like to emphasize this point as well. We are currently selected by the Japanese government as one of the candidate cities for competing to become Japan's next international financial center. The Japanese government is aware of not only our achievement in the startup field, but also the potential as a global city. You can see how compact our city is. The important city functions are centralized within 5 kilometer diameters, and it takes just 10 minutes from the city center to the airport. That means you can have business meetings in the center of the city at the last minute of your business trip. And as you can see, very quick access to the beach. It's also attractive. Fukuoka City has 15 partner institutions in 11 countries. We signed MOU to provide mutual support for startups in the region. Okay, let me start the explanation about startup visa. Generally speaking, when you live in Japan doing business, you need to have a business manager visa, and there are some requirements to get the visa. For example, you need to establish a company with more than 5 million yen of investment capital and rent an office for company. However, it's very difficult to fulfill the requirement from outside of Japan. So startup visa is a 6 months to 1 year residence permit to settle down to prepare such conditions and to make sure whether or not that Fukuoka is the right place to start your business before you invest. Once Fukuoka City approves your business plan as an innovative business and confirms that you are capable to implement the plan to fulfill the requirement of the business manager visa within the period. After the startup visa expires, most of the entrepreneurs convert them to business manager visa. This is application procedures. Global Startup Center is the contact window for the startup visa application. At first, we check your new business implementation plan. It's called NVIP. Together, in case you are not sure how to fill it out, don't worry. Just send a tentative one, and we look into the plan and we help you to brush it up. We also check your financial statement with the balance of bank account in your country. If you are capable to implement the project with your own capital, some people are looking for investment when they apply for startup visa. However, it's almost miracle to get investment in such short period for new foreign startups. So we cannot accept such kind business plans, which depending on the investment and loans at the very beginning of the project. Once all the required documents are ready, we submit them to the city government, and you get the result in 2 to 4 weeks. After you are approved, you need to apply for COE, Certificate of Eligibility. What you need to do is just fulfill the application form. If you are coming with your family, they can also apply for the COE at this time. It will take about a month to get the COE. The city government mails you the hard copy of COE to your address once it's issued. So we'll get your, and once you receive the COE, we need to register you on the ERFS system. So we will give you a list of required documents, such as booking confirmation of your flight, hotel, certificate of vaccination, and so on. So it takes about 3 to 5 days to get registered. and we will send you a certificate of the registration and some information which is required for the visa application via email. With the original COE and some other document the city government provides, you need to go to the embassy to get a visa. So let's ask the panelists later after like how long it took for the getting the visa. So once you get the visa, you're ready to travel to Japan finally. So this is let me briefly explain the general procedures and model, I should say the ideal schedule to getting the business manager visa in 6 months. So the first month, you need to get registered as resident in Fukuoka City, make your own seal, hanko, and register your address and your seal at the board office. And you need to open your bank account. Global Startup Center contact a bank in advance to make an appointment. And we accompany with you if it's needed, so you'll be able to open it without any problems. Once you get your bank account, you can register your company. So we connect you to an English-speaking incorporation lawyer in the third month. After your company is established, we arrange an appointment with the bank to open a corporate bank account. It's being said that it's getting more and more difficult to open a bank account. Thanks to our good relationship with the banks, we haven't had any problems of opening the bank account of startup visa holders. Then you prepare the visa renewal in the 5th month. If you need any support to brush up your business plan, we are happy to help you before submitting it to the immigration. So we have a meeting every month while you have a startup visa. So if you have any problem, just let us know. We are always here for you to support you and solve them together. So this is the general information about Global Startup Center and Startup Visa. So I would like to introduce 4 panelists today. William.
Hello.
Hello, and
Hello.
Berholma, are you here? Please turn on you. Hi.
How's it going?
Channington. Hello, and Lion. Lion, are you here?
Hello.
Hello, thank you for joining us today. So we would like to start with your introduction. So from William, would you start your short introduction of yourself and the project you're planning to do in Fukuoka?
Okay. Now, thank you, Akiko. Now, I'm William. Okay, from Hong Kong. Okay. I actually a game developer, so I actually work on PC and Steam games. Okay, kind of like not really big games, but indie games and things like that. Okay, and I do have slides about it because the game is in development, and usually games in development don't look very good. Okay, so so yeah, that's what my introduction.
Thank you, and the Belhoma.
Hi, yeah, name is Balhorma. So I've been mostly a backend engineer in my career so far, and that's the focus of the company I'm starting and of our flagship, or I guess main product that we're working on. If I can, give me a second to try and share this. I have a quick slideshow. Can everybody see this? Thumbs up, anybody? Good. Yeah. Cool. So this is called unmanaged IO, and the idea behind this is to allow smaller teams or even big teams to manage much more in terms of infrastructure, servers, backend applications, and so on than they normally would. Typically, managing infrastructure requires dedicated teams of SREs, and it can be very time consuming to do even simple tasks that all companies are essentially doing over and over and over, just doing the same things. And there's a lot of boilerplate involved. And so what this platform allows you is to kind of, with just one click, deploy a cluster properly configured with a whole bunch of tools. Some of these you may recognize if you're familiar with the backend space, but essentially, so we'll give you a fully featured cluster like within minutes with just one click. And so you get the various things that everybody wants in a backend cluster. You got high availability, you got your observability, automatically set you up with logs, metrics, and alerting. You get single sign-on. So for security, you know, at the companies I've been at, like you have a team that just manages the user accounts at the company, but you know, this just comes out of the box. And finally, we'd like to try to avoid things just blowing up on you when you're not paying attention. And so everything is carefully tuned so that it's very simple, easy to understand for a small team or even an individual, so that it stays stable, you know, so you can sleep at night with confidence and not have to worry about it. And that's my presentation.
Thank you. So next, Charlington.
Okay, hello, my name is Trichipisamai Shaninton from Taike Game Studio. I'm kind of similar position with Mr. William that we are going to make game, but personally, I'm not the only programmer itself. We are mostly a studio comprised of programmer and designer. So let me share this screen. Yeah. So we are the small game studio that trying to start in Fukuoka. That our main objective is to do mobile game development. Meanwhile, we are going to do some contract work for the other company if that is possible. And my special goal is to create a creative economic research for support. There are a lot of demand in Southeast Asia for this kind of business, and if I can get it started in Japan, it will be a very good goal to add to the studio itself. We have advantage because we are small, we are technological advancement, the game professional, the usual stuff, and not much going on in the game development itself, but we get something going. We have programming, we have some character design from the two games that we are making. We have capability of designing the game, level design. We can do some programming, and we also accept the audio, visual, and entertainment related work. Also, we will be in Fukuoka FGN office in the next month. So yeah, that is my presentation. If you want to see me, you can see me at the FGN near the GSC office.
Thank you so much. So, Lion, would you start your
Hello.
introduction? So,
Hello. Hello everyone. I'm Ryan, and this is my wife Sophia. Before I start to introduce my business, I would like to thank GSC for their help us into Japan. Especially during COVID-19, it was very difficult to get into Japan. Thanks a lot. I will develop my own online course platform in Japan in the future. I will provide Japanese website interface, Japanese course content in the future. This platform will not only provide my own online course, but also invite other excellent Japanese software developers to join my platform, so that this platform can become a professional and multicultural IT online course platform in Japan. Before coming to Japan, I had already done some of work and was able to provide students to view streaming video in the purchase them. Now I need to set up Japanese website and translate the video content and connect the Japanese bank to get started in Japan as soon as possible. The biggest difference between an online course and the traditional school course is that the online course allow more professionals to participate in the online course. This software engineer from different country and different culture background, and their experience in develop system in their own countries may be different with Japan. Such difference can provide inspiration to local software engineer or students in Japan. And I hope that my platform can bring meaningful help. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for everyone for your introduction. So now I would like to ask you the first question that the many people would like to know, which is how did you know about the startup visa and why did you choose Fukuoka for when you expand your business into the Japanese market? So who want to start? Answer first.
I can start.
Thanks.
Yeah, so for me, I was looking. I found out about the program because I was looking online on like various good places to start a business, or startup focused programs. There's incubators and things like that. And one of them was Fukuoka that I looked at. And the reason why I ended up choosing it, so there's a few. I mean, I think the presentation earlier went through a lot of the good points. I think those are all very much part of it. So for me is also having a reasonable sort of cost structure. Like starting a business is never cheap, but with thanks to some of the both the reduced requirements for the startup visa in Fukuoka and some of the assistance that can be provided by the city government, it makes it a lot less risky. And I think that was like one of the biggest factors in choosing Fukuoka. Having also assistance from the Global Startup Center was pretty big. This was my first time starting a business. So having someone to look at the business plan and make suggestions and ask questions, I think that was also a big part of the draw.
Wow, thank you so much for a great comment. We are very happy to hear that. Thank you so much. Okay, so who wants to go next?
Hello. Fukuoka Airport is close to the city center, so it's easy to go to other parts in Japan or back to Taiwan. It takes only 2.5 hours from Fukuoka to Taiwan. In addition, working around Fukuoka is not busy as Tokyo or Osaka. And when you want to go for a walk or get close to nature, you can take a bus and subway to everywhere quickly. So that is why we choose Fukuoka.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for your comment. Maybe William, you know, next.
Okay. Now, for me, I actually kind of visit Japan every summer holiday and during holidays now. Actually, I was thinking about Tokyo before, but then around in 2019, I saw somewhere in the local about industry startups and things like that. They talk about Fukuoka. Even for the locals, when they say that when you go to Fukuoka, you will never go back to Tokyo again. Okay, so I'll check out. Okay, so what's special about Fukuoka? Now I realized that actually the cost is much lower here, and I also realized that okay, after visiting Fukuoka, the quality of life is actually very good. Okay, so basically I realized that no, okay, my target is not Tokyo, so I actually go to the Global Startup Center and actually met some of their met Code and other people. Okay, and then I decided, oh, this is the place for me to actually to start a business in Japan. So yeah, that is why I chose Fukuoka. Now, of course, that was a long time ago because it was before pandemic. Okay, so it took me a long time to be here. But anyway, yeah. So my feeling is it is actually much more sustainable city for me to start a business, right? Because the other game developer in the panel would know that to make a profit, we need a longer time than usual. So we actually need a longer time, okay, that we can sustain for ourselves and also our employees. And Fukuoka offers very good living quality with very reasonable living costs. So it's a good thing. I see in the chat someone asked whether we speak Japanese. I actually don't speak Japanese, despite the fact that I have been here as a tourist for many, many years. But overall, I'm learning now, but before the process, I never needed to learn Japanese yet, okay? Because I need to come into the environment and interact with people. But so far, I used only English to go through the business plan process. Actually, I walk around and actually been living for a week or so. I never had any problem in Fukuoka. So yeah, I hope that answered your question as well. Okay.
Thank you. So, okay, Channington?
Yeah. Mr. William actually said almost everything I want to say because we need to talk until we have a very same situation. Because I also checked Fukuoka in 2019 and then stuck for another 2 years, actually 3 years now. But the difference is I was in Tokyo for 2 years myself, and then I worked with some of my friends. So I know for sure from my own, I don't have to listen to anyone that Tokyo is just too busy and the cost is just too high. If I starting to make game or any project there, I will run out of money really fast. There's no way I can finish any project in there with on my own. So if we want to start, we should start small and we go back to Kyushu to Fukuoka. I also come to GSC and meet Akiko-san. I also spent some time around in Fukuoka and I found that it's much cheaper than what I was in Tokyo. And I know if it's here, it's good for me. It's good for the employees and for the opportunity. Maybe if I hire someone, I want them to be here too because the cost will be low and they will be here for longer, me and my team. And because we have more time and we got support from GSC that relax the requirement, maybe some tax, maybe some office. The more time, the more capital we have, the better project we can make. So I believe it will be in my best interest to start my business here. Yeah, but mostly the same as what Mr. Miriam said. Yeah. Oh, the sound is gone.
So we got a question that if you speak Japanese.
Yeah, I can speak Japanese somewhat because I lived in Japan for 7 years, so I don't have problem adapting to Japan community at all, which is good because I want to start the incorporation as soon as possible too.
How about Belhoma?
For me, it's a little bit, especially if it's written or like reading, or if I have to write something, I can take my time to make sure everything's correct. But not so much if it's anything more complicated conversation. But thankfully, the GSC staff speaks English. We've been interacting in English. And for all the important meetings, there's usually been someone to translate as well to make sure everything's clear.
Ryan, how about you?
Translator system, APP.
Okay, so I have also got a question on the when we do the registration. Some of the audience, they give us some questions. So one of them is, what was the most challenging aspect of the application procedures and why? What was the most challenging in the procedure of application of startup visa? Did you have any? Anyone can start? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so I think for me, I thought it would be the business plan at first, but surprisingly, it wasn't. It was still time consuming and challenging, but getting the help from GSC made it much easier. Made me a lot more confident in that. I think unfortunately in my case, it was the timing of the border closures. So it was, I think, just after I received the COE first time around, and they closed the border. So that the uncertainty around that, right? Because if you're trying to start a business, you kind of want to know what your future is. So that made things difficult. But luckily, the nature of the business meant that I could still continue working on it even before the entry. And then once entry is possible, like the actual application was very smooth. So yeah.
Yeah, the business plan, yeah, it's very difficult to prepare. But do you have any other opinions or?
How about William?
Now, for me, because my background is slightly different, I have actually started business before. So basically, for me, the process is actually smoother than I thought. Because originally, I would have worried because I do not know Japanese. Yeah, when I submit the business plan, is in pure English. So I just use my limited ability in Japanese and my wife's limited ability in Japanese, and then with Google Translate to translate the business plans and stuff. But generally, it's still okay. So basically, it's easier than I thought. So basically, for me, yeah. And anything, if you have any problem, I just asked the GSC, and then they can give me very good answers. Yeah. So basically, it's not for me. That part is not challenging at all. Well, the part is getting into Japan that is the most challenging part.
Yeah.
Due to the
Yeah,
pandemic.
you're right.
Yeah. It is actually very smooth. Considered if you think about it, right? If you all the business plans and things like that, you believe that there are a lot of things to do. No, it's not that bad. Okay, it's actually quite smooth. Yeah, in that stage for me at least.
How about Torrington or?
Yeah. In my case, the business plan was, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's not hard, but it's not easy because I think I was a little bit too early because it was 2 or 3 years ago when there are not many people and the lockdown hasn't happened yet. So what should I say? The cloud economy has not yet to be the mainstream. So there are some difficulty in the cost and revenue expectation because I want to keep the cost low and then scale up later. But the Fukuoka City said I should go for the bigger number. So there are some adjustment about the scalability of the project itself. But overall, is as the author said, you don't need Japanese to do it at all. You just fill everything in English and then try to get a good translator for it. And the best part is you don't have to be in Japan to do it. You can do it everything electronically. You can contact GSC by email. I talk with GSC more than 50 times now. And the hardest part for me is actually trying to make the business plan clear and presentable to everyone, because when you try to make startup, it's something new, it's a new idea or something that only you know the best. But to show it to everyone else, you have to show something new into something understandable, and that's the hard part for me.
Thank you. So in the chat box, I got a question for Ryan. So did you start the application of the business visa before you go to Japan? I think it's not for Ryan, but it's for everyone. So let me answer for this one. like you need to apply for the startup visa before you enter Japan. So before you enter Japan, you apply for the startup visa. Then after you come to Japan, then you fulfill the requirement. Then you can convert your startup visa to business manager visa. That's the procedures. I hope it covers your question. And you also, and there is the question, the most challenging thing you faced in your country while you are waiting for opening the border of Japan. So how, like, you need to wait for long, right? Maybe for the longest person, you wait for 2 years, about 2 years. So did you have any like the challenges?
Yeah, and I also wanted to know why you didn't give up. Why you can wait for 1 year to 2 years and still you are willing to come to Japan and Fukuoka.
Okay, I guess I will start because I believe I should be the longest waiting time for 2 years and 3 months. For personally for me, because I already in Japan before that for a long time, and most of my connection, my business client, and my project, my career plan was already supposed to be here. Because if you don't start up, then maybe some shukatsu, or maybe I will do some research first, some market research, and then try to go into some workforce. But also it's not actually that bad, considering that you can still work from home, and because Fukuoka is really high-tech city now, because everything is already have digital transformation. So not being able to come to Japan is not that bad to the business. At least I cannot grow the business, but it's sustainable. And I don't think I should give up on Japan, because during the whole 2 years of updating, the Fukuoka City has supported me all the way, telling me when is it gonna start, or when is border gonna open or close. They contact me all the time. I don't feel like I'm not in Japan. And also I have some staff in Japan doing some work for me, not much, but it's better than nothing. And besides about the COVID itself, I think Japan has transparency, somewhat transparent in their measurement, in their countermeasure and their information, because it's always on the website that I can check anytime. Meanwhile, I don't even know the situation in my own country. I can come to Japan and then I can go after the quarantine. I can go out now, but if I'm in Thailand, I still cannot go out. I actually can do more business for my Japan company than what I can do in Thailand, even though I'm in Thailand, even when I was in Thailand. So I was impressed that Japan can still keeping the country continue even during this crisis, and it's better than my country. So I have no reason to give up.
Thank you for your comment. How about Ryan? Did you have any challenges while you are waiting for coming to Japan?
Okay, I think start my business in Japan is my goal. So just wait 1 or 2 years is not a problem for me. Yeah, and we thought we would be able to enter Japan next year, but because of Omicron, we have not been able to enter. So we have to extend the list of our residents. And when we can enter Japan, we have to sell our furniture in the cars as soon as possible. So we feel that the time passed very slowly when we are waiting. But when we share flight date, we feel that that time passed too fast. So I think the challenge for us is uncertainty, because we can arrange many things in advance, and sometimes we have to wait. But I guess life is full of uncertainty and the challenge. It make us better and better.
Thank you. So maybe Verhoma, did you have any challenges or you know why you didn't give up coming to Fukuoka?
Yeah, so for me, I think there's a couple of factors. So first is that initially it wasn't really clear. So I believe it was in December when the like the UK variant at the time was discovered. And then there was a closure. It was like, oh, until the end of the month. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So let's wait until the end of the month, right? You know, and then the end of the month comes, and then they're like, oh, well, let's wait until the end of the next month, right? So that kind of made it that it seemed like it wasn't going to be a long time at first. But at the same time, I did look at alternatives. So other programs, other places. But I think it just speaks to the sort of the strength of Fukuoka as a startup destination. That I eventually stuck with it because I did study other possibilities and like sketched out business plans in different cities and talked to some people, but it was never as good as the situation in Fukuoka. So that's why I eventually just stuck with it.
I see. Thank you. How about William?
My situation is the worst, okay, because in Hong Kong, yeah, I need to, the burn rate, okay, of any company, if you is in Hong Kong, around 3 times of that of Fukuoka. So basically, my years of spending the business in Hong Kong for 1 year means I'm spending 3 years in Fukuoka. So I think that answered the questions why I still insist to come here, because it's simply not sustainable in large cities like Hong Kong or Singapore, because you know that the office cost, the living cost, and things like that is huge. Okay, while here, okay, you can really start a business. So as I see someone from the chat room has asked about the living cost, you automatically come here, you realize that everything is far more affordable. And yeah, so everything will be much more finer here. So basically, for me, okay, luckily I still have my personal funds ready. Otherwise, if I wait for any further, I will be in big trouble. Okay, in my case. So yeah, I hope that answer your question. Why I need to come here? I still need to come here anyhow. I actually month by month watching for the news when I can come here. But in my case, like in the other panelists, I'm creating games. I can still work from home in Hong Kong, but yeah, but at a much higher cost in all the daily operations and things like that. And of course, I cannot even imagine to employ anyone in Hong Kong or set up any office yet. Okay, so yeah.
Thank you for your comment. So we have the question here: how did you manage to keep the cost of your personal welfare during your stay in Fukuoka lately? So let me answer for these questions. So as for the personal welfare, it's in Japan it's all slightly different, but it's almost the same. So yeah, so it's not like Fukuoka. We cannot say Fukuoka is relatively low, but it's almost the same throughout the country. Yeah. And the next question is there something you wish you would have known earlier or before you come into Japan?
I think for me, it's that you really need to register a valid residence before you can do anything. Because anything important requires Juminhyo, which is like your residence certificate, or at least an address where you can receive mail. So without that, you can't even get a phone number. And a lot of things you need a phone for as well. So if there was one thing I would say to like my previous self is plan with that in mind, because I originally planned out my first weeks like, oh, I'll do this on this day and this on that day. But then after I arrived, I realized I couldn't really do a lot of those things. So everything had to shift.
I see. So how about Charlington?
Yeah, what I wish to know.
About maybe income. Maybe
Yeah,
income. You cannot
I still,
maybe stop in Chani.
Yeah,
I
we are
still
also
have,
very surprised.
I still have income. My own income work for 6 years, but for now I have to register a new one and it doesn't work. I wish my name is not that long. It's so hard to do anything in Japan with foreign name. But
Okay, Chanidon, today I have confirmed with
Oh.
the water office, so I
Yeah.
will give it the answer by email. But anyway, there is solutions. So this is
Okay.
important. So I will
Okay,
give it
that's
the
Yeah,
solution.
but
Yeah.
I think this is your problem. The problem is that your name is too long.
So I think you wish you had known before.
Yeah, I wish I have known, because even though I'm in Japan for a long time, the living in Japan and making business in Japan is totally two different things. There are different rules, different, I would say even different language. I could live in Japan with my Japanese, but I cannot do business in Japanese at all. They're just something very, very different. So that's something I wish I should have known before, because I thought it would be easy, because oh yeah, I am Japan before, I can speak Japanese, it should be easy. No, it doesn't work. Even my friend who are Japanese told me that oh, they cannot understand business Japanese either. So it doesn't work that way. And what I wish to know the most is I should have known that I was gonna stuck in Thailand for another 2 years. If I know I cannot come to Japan for 2 years, I would have prepared myself better. But nobody knows it's gonna be this long, so I burn a lot of resource, and I lost some business connection that I'm trying to get them back when I'm here. Because without connection or and client and customer, you cannot expand business quickly. But so I have to prepare myself again, just like old time. Just have to do everything again, and then we can go quickly. Yeah.
Thank you. Ryan?
I think William.
Oh, William.
Yeah. Now you are very struggle to find the accommodation. So you can tell your story.
Now, but for me, my case, actually, I concur with them because I thought things will work. It doesn't work, okay? Because I believe after the pandemic, many things have changed. Say now, through the delivery, I don't have a phone, so some delivery says that I cannot use the app, and also even Uber Eats still believe that I still live in Hong Kong. So after ordering a few times, yeah, it says that I'm having some faulty action and actually banned my wife's account. So I use my own account and then use several times before they ban us. They don't believe anyone is traveling at all. So that is that level, okay? So you cannot prepare for that because probably there are no tourists and things like that. All the transactions, your banking and things like that, they are actually a bit even more complicated post-pandemic. Okay, so yeah, there's something I wish I would have prepared better. Say, for example, for the SIM cards, it's actually more difficult to get them now. And if I knew, I realized that I should have already applied that overseas. Actually, the rules is actually simpler when you do it in prior to arrival. But now I'm too late. Okay, I actually don't have a home yet. Okay, so all these kind of things. Okay, yeah, that's something that I wish I would have known. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, I think the Japanese language is important. After all, you need to communicate a lot with people when you come to Japan. So remembering more Japanese words will make it easier to communicate with people here. But you don't worry. The people are very nice in Fukuoka, and the staff of City Hall are very friendly. They will try their best to help you with all kinds of business, even you don't know Japanese language. But it will be smooth if you have basic communication skill before you enter Japan.
Okay, thank you. So we got a question about hiring the people. So today's partners, they just arrived in Fukuoka, so they don't have the experience to hiring people here yet. So let me answer on behalf. So actually, if you're looking for the human resources, you can contact us. And if you have the job description, we have connection with the university, and we have network, so we can help and support to look for the person or people or talent that you are looking for. And so we can support. Yep. So I hope I answer your question. And then the next question is from Mumu. So
Shall I?
yeah.
Yeah, I have one question for my curiosity. Is there anybody who come to the Fukuoka because Fukuoka has a beach, while the Tokyo, Osaka, Tokyo, they don't have a beach? Is it a point for you? This is my curiosity. So the beach is important, or the fishing is important for you. That's the question.
I can say maybe not specifically beach, but the idea of being very close to things like the beach or going to the mountain or somewhere quiet, I think that was definitely a plus. I'll say that's not the reason, because the reasons were more business related, but I think that is definitely something I look forward to. I haven't been yet, so I'm hoping to go to Itoshima maybe sometime soon.
Actually, I expected my answer from you because you come to States. They simply speaking, all Americans love the beach, isn't it?
Yeah, I came from the States, but I'm not American. I'm from Algeria.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
And actually, the city where I grew up was on the sea. So I used to go to the beach a lot when I was a kid. But I guess when I got older, I already did all my swimming already, so I'm good.
Is there anybody who want to talk about the beach? Yep.
Yeah, for the beach. Now, it's because you can say I'm come from Southeast Asia. Fukuoka is not hot enough to enjoy the beach fully, right? So that is part of the reason. Because I go to the beach, I have tried, it's been too cold for me. Okay, but generally, if you talk about the nature, I actually come for the food, because I know that Kyushu have a very good locally grown food. So basically, it's similar. I like the nature part of it. Okay, not necessarily the beach, but I know that there are many farms, and I can come here and know that there are many locally sourced food. Now that is actually more important to me in my case. Now, of course, I also enjoy the natural scenery. Okay, but in general, yeah, the beach is a bit cold. It's just sad. Okay, generally it's not too hot here, right? Even in the summer, I know that it is not really that hot. Yeah. So,
yeah, because we have a beach, because we have the sea. Yeah, because we have the sea, that's why we have the good fish. Yeah, I think it's relevant, right?
Yeah. But I believe selling activities or other activities that involve the sea is actually very enjoyable. Yeah, in that sense.
Okay. So the Bobby, I will answer. I'll reply to you later via email. Yeah. Okay. And then this is the last question, or maybe not the question, but do you have any advice of the potential startup visa applicants? Do you have any advice or any tips, any comments for who are interested in applying for the startup visa?
I think the one thing I would say from my recent experience is contact real estate agency before you arrive, because of just how important getting that residence is to the rest of the process. I would say that's probably like one of the bigger things, and maybe learning a little bit of the language. So for, like I said, for anything important, I've just been using English to make sure everything's correct, but there's so many other interactions that you have every day, at the grocery store, convenience store, where, having a little bit, especially because things can be so different, at least for me here. So I don't know where to find different things in the grocery store. So being able to ask is very, very helpful.
Thank you for the good point. How about Ryan?
I think someone confused staff visa and the business management visa. So I think staff visa is very special visa. That allow you to enter Japan, then start a business and apply for business management visa. I think this is a very safe way to go because you are not in Japan, but you find someone you don't know in Japan to start a business. And you have to transfer your business capital to his account. It's very risky. And even if you spend the application fee, you may not be successful. So JCC is under the Fukuoka City government and can be trusted. They have a wealth of resource and professional. So if you are not sure to apply for staff visa or to apply a business management visa directly through someone else, I would recommend that you apply for a staff visa through JCC.
There are many people who want to start a business in Japan, and yeah, to getting the business manager visa outside of Japan, so it's difficult. So yeah, startup visa is very useful. Yeah, thank you for your comment. Okay, so about Channington.
Yeah, my advice is maybe if you are from maybe United States or some Western country that are already technological advanced, it might not apply. But I think many people here who like to come to Japan maybe come from Asia or Southeast Asia or something like that. I would say it's a very big surprise that the city government of Fukuoka and Japan and Fukuoka has already digitalized itself a lot. Like startup visa that you can do anything, that you can do the entire startup visa outside of Japan. I would say taking the advantage of the digitalization power is the most important thing that you can do during this time, because you will never know there will be another pandemic or another disaster that make you stuck at home or go somewhere else. But as long as you can prepare for that, and the government has a channel for you to use the computer, the IT, or to do anything from the internet, it will help you to be able to get the work done no matter where you are in the world.
Thank you.
Well, I actually also agree that the digitization is actually progressing quite well after the pandemic, because when we enter Japan, the process is actually quite digital and it's actually very quick. So basically, I believe sometimes we have a stereotype to believe that Japan do not like digitization or things like that. No, they're actually doing quite well. And actually after the pandemic, things are actually doing in an even more faster pace, right? So basically, I also want to point out some of the comments that's about the living cost of Japan. It's also people who also want to like to believe that Japan is a very expensive place to live in. But actually, if you think about it, say I'm a game developer. Now, for different places I can create my gaming startup. Actually, those who sent to me about opportunities is like Germany. Germany wants to do that, or Canada. Canada also encourage gaming. And then with Japan, okay, which now if you consider all these options, Japan is actually the most livable, the cheapest among them all. And actually they have the world-class infrastructure for that. So if you compare the level of support and the level of development, okay, that it is actually Japan is actually very, very cheap in that sense, but they provide equally, if not superior, environment for that. So in this case, that if you believe that it's really expensive to live in Japan, I believe it's probably outdated. It's actually quite really livable compared to all the other options with similar infrastructure and people and things like that. So that will be my comment on the startup visa in Japan and why you do business here. Yeah.
Thank you. And we have a question about Oscar.
Yep. And how to react? I can tell you. move with the earthquake. Okay, this is the answers. And the real answer is do not underestimate. Okay, actually, when you were in Japan, not only Fukuoka, you will definitely have a lot of experience of earthquake. Sometimes very small, sometimes quite huge. Okay, and do not underestimate. I think that's the advice. Yep.
Okay, so it's time. So thank you so much for everyone for the participation. And we will send you the questionnaire after this event. So please give us some minutes to answer them to improve our online event. So thank you again for your time and see you next time for the event. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you.